those are things that, and I had this personal experience years ago. My dog used the bathroom in the airport. So I'd say also bring poop bags just in case. But yeah, and so that was very stressful because then I had to run down to the pet relief area, and then I came back and security's looking for me. They're like, hey, you. I'm like, I know, I'm coming to get it, you know? So, and my mistake, but I learned from that for sure. Not being prepared would definitely add a whole extra layer of stress that you just don't need. From CareCredit, it's Care Experts, a podcast where we dive deep into the health and pet care industry with the professionals that make it happen. I'm Antonio Diaz, and this is Logan. Just like people, pets can get nervous when they travel. But with the right preparation and care, you can help your pet stay calm and comfortable during travel. And there's no one better to help us prepare than the pet travel expert, Dr. Nelva Bryant. She is the only practicing veterinarian in the airline industry and the founder of When Pets Fly, where she helps educate pet parents and professionals on safe animal transport. Dr. Bryant, welcome to the Care Experts podcast. So happy to have you here. I'm excited to talk about the signs and symptoms of stress and how pet owners can deal with it. But before we get into it, I would love to hear about how you got into the niche of pet travel within veterinary medicine.
Yeah, always wanted to be a veterinarian and pursued that. And just were exposed to different things throughout my career that led to this. I graduated from veterinary school, did a veterinary pathology residency, joined the Army, which was a little bit strange after vet school, but I went with it and enjoyed the opportunities there. And then I switched to United States Public Health Service, and gosh, the doors opened with opportunities and just different experiences in the veterinary profession. I got offered a position within the airline industry. Okay. And with that, I just started noticing that things that pet parents can do to better prepare their pets for air travel. And that's what I've been working on these past few years.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm sure a lot of dogs get anxious, a little bit stressed during travel. What does that look like? Any differences between a pet being typically stressed at home versus during travel?
Well, a common sign that they have anxiety or stressed is they're going to be, for dogs, panting, barking, pawing, trying to get out of their crate or container during transit when they're inside their crate. Those are all signs of it. Just anxious, just really can't calm down. They won't sit down, just agitated. Those are definite signs. For cats, might be the vocalization. You heard them when they make that little moan sound, crazy sound. But vocalizing in cats, and it can happen.
How can people best deal with that? Do you think it's a preventative thing or something they should be tackling during travel?
I think it's something that you can work on your pet to get comfortable with. And again, some of the things as far as getting acclimated to being confined in their crate. Please don't buy the crate the day before and think that it's perfectly fine to put your pet in there and that they're going to be calm. Because, think about stress. Stress, it could be fight or flight or, fright. So they might be calm or sit there rigid, but the others could be to the point where panting, excited, trying to get out of their container. So it depends on the animal, and it really depends. So preparing your pet for air travel, I think that's going to be the focus there. You need to do that in advance.
How far in advance do you think somebody should start preparing?
Oh, gosh, it could take months, honestly. I would say, again, because cats are a little bit different as far as being confined in containers, it might take them longer to feel comfortable in it. So it might take a little bit longer. Okay. Try maybe 3 months out, 4 months out, depending on the animal and everything.
Yeah, I'd even go so far as to say that if you have a pet, that should be part of your socialization process and just getting them used to being in a carrier, in a crate, getting them out into public spaces. This way, you never have to worry about it if the time ever arises that you need to travel with them. And personally, I love traveling with my dog. So if I have a dog, they're going to be trained how to, become acclimated to being in a car, in a kennel, and just being in different locations.
Well, to top on that, what you said there, though, think about in emergency situations. What if you have to evacuate? You've got to make sure it's out and they're comfortable being confined in it, because again, if they're not accustomed to being confined, the anxiety, panting, all the excitement, all this stuff happens. Leave your carriers and crates out. Always make sure it's their safe haven so they're comfortable in it. So when you do need to put them in it, they're okay with being confined.
Yeah. Do you think that dogs and cats are affected differently when it comes to stress and anxiety during travel?
I think the impact is going to be individual, same as how we are. So it all depends on your pet and everything. It all depends on their exposures, what they've been through growing up as puppies and kittens. Everything is going to play with that. So it's individual. You might have two pets at home, two dog and cat at home, or two dogs at home. One is perfectly fine. The other one stresses out. It's individual.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I tell people that all the time. We have to work with the dog as an individual and give them what they need.
Yeah.
So how would you categorize normal anxiety versus severe anxiety? Like, what are some of the ways that you would differentiate the two?
I'll just say I've seen severe anxiety breeds that you would not think that could tear out of containers or crates. It can go from one extreme to the other. Again, you might have some that just might pant a little bit, and you can see they're a little excited. And you might have the other ones that will just frantically do things because they are going to get out of that environment. So depends on your pet. Depends on your pet. And you know what, the interesting thing, you being a trainer, to be honest with you, you have an area that you can help with pet travel, as far as helping people to learn how to get their pets confined in their crates and stuff like that, just things to prepare them. So that's an aspect for trainers to recognize and realize that's a training piece.
I agree. I have helped many, many clients. One thing I would say to people that are trying to get their dogs acclimated to being in a small kennel is make it a fun experience and focus on frequency and repetition. So when I'm crate training, I tell people throw the food in the crate, let the dog come out on their own, and just repeat that. Going in there, get a piece of food. If they want to come out, let them come out. Right. Then when they go in there after a handful of reps, while they're in there, throw a little bit more food in there, and then a little bit more food, and then start to invite them out. And then you can start naming the crate, whatever you want to call it, and just make it a positive experience, but use it frequently. I would say make it a part of your daily routine, having the dog go in there and then learning how to settle in there. And another tip is to exercise the dog and then have them go and settle in the crate or the airline carrier.
Right. Another thing folks can do too is, as far as getting them prepared for just it could be traveling to a veterinary clinic or wherever, start doing trips with them, put it inside your car and do short trips, come back, but make it pleasant. Give them treats afterwards, make it a pleasant trip. So now when and again, this could be used, like I said, more just for air travel, but crate training in general, make it pleasant. Yes. Don't make it punishment for them.
Yeah, and the same with like just driving around. A lot of people, the only time that they bring their dog in the car, put them in the car, is to bring them to the vet.
Right.
So I'd say make it a fun experience. A lot of people have difficulties with their dogs just being in the car because one negative experience can essentially ruin that dog and the way that they perceive being in the car or traveling.
Right.
So should pet parents consider pheromone sprays in order to calm their dogs?
I think those are a good option, to be honest with you, calming as far as with that. And I know there's Adaptil for dogs and Feel Away for cats. Might be others out there on the commercial market, but I'm not aware of them. But they're the calming effect. Also, since pets, they're your pets, they love your scent, maybe put a t-shirt or something that has your scent on it. That'll help calm them down as well. That's something good to use. And then also the CBDs, but be careful. Get something that's definitely recommended by a veterinarian.
Okay.
Because there's so many on the commercial market, it's hard to decide on what works. But also, I don't know if you're aware of this, with CBD though, a lot of times people think that use CBD almost like a sedative. It's an additive effect. You have to keep them on it routinely for it to work.
I see.
So if you just think I'm gonna give it CBD and he's gonna, no, that's not how it works.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
As far as the pheromones, it's very interesting to me. Is it similar like to aromatherapy for people? Like how certain scents can be calming. I know I can think of some scents that I would say calm me, make me be a little bit more relaxed. And maybe
I agree. I mean,
meditate.
I don't think it's like aromatherapy. I believe the scent is more like a maternal scent, like a pheromone that way. I'd be careful with aromatherapy because I believe there are certain scents that could potentially be toxic to dogs, or cats. So I'd be careful with that. But I think it's more in the line of like a maternal type pheromone type scent. That's being given off to relax them that way. Another thing that people do too to calm and relax pets is too music therapy. I don't know if you've gotten into that much too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've heard classical music.
Yeah.
It does a really good job at calming. Do you think it's okay for pets to eat or drink before they fly?
Yeah, they do need to have something in their system. At least say a good 4 hours before getting to the airport. Have a small meal, something small and some water. Just to give them something, no major meal. But again, I would also exercise them and hopefully have a good potty break before they go to the airport.
Definitely.
And that would be a big help. But yeah, they need something.
Okay, so you
system.
would say it would be recommended to feed them at least a few hours before the
Yeah.
flight.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any tips for people to help manage their own stress
Their
while
own
they're
stress,
traveling
calm
with their pets?
down.
Yeah. Breathe.
Well, calm down and then also educate yourself. Know the policies for the airline, know the regulations for that transport, and just the more education that you have and comfortable with, you're better prepare your pet. But just realize being calm, going back to that, if you're calm, your pet's going to be calm. They're going to feed off you. So if you stay relaxed, they will too. But again, educate yourself, know the regulations, know the policies.
Love that.
And I think that will be your best thing right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think preparation is so important. Being at the airport early, right? Extra early, just so make sure your dog goes to the bathroom if you're traveling with your pets. Those are things that, and I had this personal experience years ago. My dog used the bathroom in the airport. So I'd say also bring poop bags just in case. But yeah, and so that was very stressful because then I had to run down to the pet relief area and then I came back and security's looking for me. They're like, hey, you. I'm like, I know, I'm coming to get it, so, and my mistake, but I learned from that for sure. Not being prepared would definitely add a whole extra layer of stress that you just don't need. How can people help their pets adjust once they've arrived at their
Let's get back to the normal routine.
Love that.
Let's get back to the eating schedule, the walking schedule, exercise. Let's get back to a routine. Your pet needs consistency with their diet because you don't want any gastrointestinal upset, vomiting, diarrhea, veterinary visits while you're traveling. You don't want all that. So
I agree.
just get back to a normal routine with them.
Yeah, and one tip I would add to that too is to help your pets acclimate is let them become familiar with their new environment by allowing them to sniff around, and then also practicing some known behaviors or tricks just to kind of keep some familiarity in the mix. Asking your dog to speak, lay down, give paw, sit down, whatever it is, and rewarding them for it, making it a fun experience, I think would be very beneficial. I'll use that a lot with nervous dogs to help them sort of settle in a new environment because it's a known behavior. And so that's something that they can expect and it becomes a little bit more routine. So it's a great way. And similarly, when I'm helping dogs become acclimated to new environments, we offer a lot of sniffing. Go sniff away, become familiar. And that's the best way for them to actually become familiar with and know where they're at.
Right. Oh, that's great.
So how far in advance would you recommend that a pet owner prepare their dog or pets for travel?
Yeah, that's something you really need to consider because it's more than just preparing your pet as far as being acclimated to be confined in their crate. You also have to consider the requirements for that destination. Say if you're going somewhere internationally, be aware it takes time to complete all the requirements for your pet to be allowed into that country.
I see.
Such as, it could take, might need a microchipping, rabies vaccination, rabies titer. It can take, depending on the country, months. I know the longest, if you want to go to Australia, it could take maybe up to 8 months to get prepared. So as soon as you know you want to travel somewhere domestically or internationally, start preparing. But again, if it's somewhere internationally, knowing it's going to take months to complete the documentation to allow your pet to enter that country, probably just, if it's 6 months, 8 months in advance, talk with your veterinarian, make sure he's USDA accredited, and start working on the process as far as the paperwork. But as far as, again, acclimating your pet, getting them ready for confinement, I would say, if anything, most average pets could be 3 months, 4 months out. But as far as the documentation, just be aware it might take longer to get prepared.
Do you think in your experience that repeated pet travel could make a dog or pet's issues better or worse?
I think the more it's going to be individual.
Agreed.
All based upon their upbringing and everything. It's individual. But I think for those that, I just say I have I do my Facebook Lives, and I have just had a pet parent on who has been traveling over 17 years with her dog. Her dog is actually, it's amazing. Looks like a little Yorkie. He's 17 years old. She's been traveling domestically and internationally with her dog for all those years. And she said he's a pro. Of course, she talks to him, tell him, hey, we got a long trip here. He lays down in the carrier and sleeps, and it's fine. She's got this dog trained so well there. He goes on the wee-wee pad. She said she could take him to the bathroom in the aircraft, take him to the bathroom, put the pad out there, and he'll go right there. He's trained.
Yeah.
So it's individual.
Yeah. And she's definitely done her. Yeah. She's done her job well.
She said, and she wanted to bring a point, it's training. It's everyday training with her dog. She just continually trains him, and that's the outcome.
Yeah, I would add to that too. What I tell my clients is that exposure coupled with bad handling makes it worse. Exposure with good handling can make it better. So you can constantly travel with your dog, but if you're not doing the right things during that traveling process, you can absolutely make it worse.
Yeah.
So being prepared and making the necessary adjustments to help alleviate issues repeatedly will help the dog get better.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into our Ask Me Anything section, one of my favorite parts. We got some questions that our viewers have asked, so I'll go ahead and throw them at you now. Can my 2 Chihuahuas stay together in the same carrier to help with their anxiety while on a plane?
Wow. Okay. For cargo, if they're over 6 months of age, no.
Okay.
Because that's an animal welfare regulation. You can have 2 animals of over 6 months of age in the same container. And everything for transport by cargo.
Is that any animal or just dogs?
It's going to be dogs or cats.
Okay.
And it could be 2 dogs, 2 cats, or dog and cat. Either way, if they're over 6 months of age, no.
Okay.
In cabin, I guess it depends on, again, they have to fit in a carrier that fits in your foot space and the soft-sided carrier there. And as long as the airline is not against that policy for them to be together, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
My dachshund Daisy has separation anxiety and panics if she can't see me. Any tips to help her stay calm when she's in her carrier under the seat?
Yeah. Let's get maybe some toys. Nothing that's a choke hazard, but maybe some toys, maybe something with your scent on it, a T-shirt or something like that. And then how about let's try some of those pheromone sprays, Adaptol or something like that. I think that would help.
Yeah. I would even add like a high value chew item.
Yeah.
Something that she can focus on instead of being concerned about the owner. Last one. My dog Coco drools a lot when she's anxious. Should I be worried about her getting dehydrated on a cross-country flight?
I wouldn't worry about dehydration too much, to be honest with you. Now, if she's in cabin with you, maybe a little bit of water, something like that. Going by cargo, very unlikely that an animal will become dehydrated, even if it is 10 hours without water. I doubt they'll become fully dehydrated. But prior to travel, make sure, again, as I mentioned earlier, food and water, make sure we have some before traveling, good say 4 hours before flight, something like that. But I don't think that's an issue unless your Daisy has an underlying medical condition. Okay. Then I'd be concerned. So check all that prior to travel.
Perfect. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Bryant, thank you so much for your expertise. Really enjoyed our conversations.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Whoa. Don't leave yet. I just want to say, if you want to hear more about health and pet care, check out these episodes of Care Experts. Also, before you go, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. New episodes drop every Wednesday. You don't want to miss it.